So I tell Cornette, I say, hey, guess who follows me? And he didn't know. So I sent him the screenshot of the mooch following me in his inbox. Listen to this shit. This is how stupid Jimmy is. Jimmy didn't know he had a Twitter inbox. He's been on Twitter, I guess, almost as long as I have. He doesn't even have Facebook because he thinks Twitter's the place to be. If he only knew how much money he was losing not being on Facebook. Because I guarantee you guys, 80% of what I take in on selling merch, 70 to 80% of it's on Facebook. Twitter don't buy shit. Now, Jimmy does well, but he would do a lot better if he was on Facebook. But I'll tell you why he doesn't is because the people can really tell them what they think about Jimmy. On Twitter, you've only got 240 characters, so Jimmy is the, he's the king of the joke books. He's memorized everything he's ever said. So he has something to respond to everyone who's ever insulted him as long as he keeps it to 240 characters. Some people will go off on your ass on Facebook. Well, you write 4 paragraphs on me, I'm writing 5 back. I got all day. I'm retired. I ain't got nothing to do. So, or at least I tell people that. And but Jimmy doesn't want to get into that. So he refuses to do Facebook. He won't get a webcam because that would force him to take a shower and have to look halfway decent every day. And he wants to play with his dog during the show. And this is shit he's told me. I'm not ratting him out on anything. He's told me this. But he won't get a webcam. So Jimmy and I could go on and do the noon report like we've been talking about doing for 8 years now. And here we go, except just like me and you, and do the noon report. Just talk about today's activities, and it would be probably one of the most successful podcasts going for people to tune in and get the opinions of me and Cornette on the daily occurrences of television, wrestling, whatever the fuck, politics, religion, all the shit he does now, but only his opinion. I could counteract his opinion. Because I don't care what he argues, I can take the other side and beat him in it because I'm original. He's not. But he doesn't want that because he knows that that's why I was only on his show like once every month or two. He wants to hog the limelight. He never wanted me to be an equal part of the show, even though his 5 of his 6 highest rated shows still to this day are me. Explain that to me.
Somebody else asked if you've thought of starting a Patreon.
You know what?
Which
one of my
that's one of the first things we ever tried to do, and that was I don't know. It's whenever Patreon first started.
Yeah,
I got a hold of you to try to start one, and yeah, and I remember because I was talking to you.
Ever getting a dime from one?
No, we didn't make shit.
Didn't make shit. Well, there was somebody that formed one in my name. An old co-host. I'll just let you guess who that was. Who we don't speak to anymore. That could be anybody, but it could be Daniel Spencer. But an old co-host formed a Patreon account, and I was raising money for something. And the guy says, "Hey, King, did you get the $50 I sent you?" I look at the name, and normally I can look at a name. I know my memory sucks, but if somebody sends me money, I normally remember their name. So I look at his name. I said, "Man, I don't remember getting anything from you. Can you send me a screenshot of it?" He said, "Well, I didn't give it to you in PayPal. I gave it to you in Patreon." I said, "I've heard people talk about Patreon. I know Conan's big on Patreon and a few others. Casey and the Sunshine Band's big on it." And I go, they follow me too, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that or not. Casey and the Sunshine Band, Scaramucci, MC Hammer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Chris Jericho. That ain't a bad following. That ain't bad. And a guy named Roland, who's big in the news business, who's my buddy. What was I talking about? Oh, so Patreon. So this guy sent $50 to Patreon. I said, "Well, you better get your goddamn money back because that ain't me." So it turned out my old co-host that went up and was making bogus promises of autographed pictures and signed books and all this shit if you make a $50 donation to Patreon. So I don't know how much money he milked people out of that they didn't get their shit because they didn't get it from me. But he reported him, got the site shut down, and they gave him his money back, and then he just sent it to me through PayPal. But yeah, that's an old co-host that hangs out over in England that set that shit up. So let's put it this way. He's the only one who could have done it. And they traced the account back to a home in England. So, or in the, near London. He's not that far away. So I don't know who else it would have been. And But this little piece of shit's got enough shit going on without me putting him in jail. So fuck him. And, you know,
A question from Paul Quinn. As a Dolphins fan, was Ace Ventura a good or a bad thing?
it never hurts to have your quarterback and your team mentioned in a very successful worldwide movie. So I say a good thing. We weren't making the playoffs whether without him. We made the playoffs a lot. We got in the Super Bowl. I think Marino's either rookie year or the year. I think it was his rookie year. And then we thought we was going to be in the Super Bowl every year for about 8 years. Never win again. Fulton Walker, remember him, the kickoff against Washington, returning the 103-yard touchdown return. At that time was the longest kickoff return in Super Bowl history. And Fulton Walker, I don't know why I remember that name because I can't remember most of my own family's names. And I also sold cookware back when I was selling cookware to Mark Clayton, who was a University of Louisville grad. And I didn't get to sell any to Mark Duper. I wanted to sell Marino, Duper, and Clayton, but Marino was hard to get to. A friend of mine knew Clayton, and Clayton had heard a little bit about me, but I was really real new to the wrestling business at that time. And but he bought a set of cookware from me, and I'll tell him now I made a $390 commission off from him. So 1987, I'd eat bad money for 2 hours work. So, but no, the Marx brothers, Mark Clayton and Mark Zuper, they were badass. But yeah, I would say it was a good thing because even at Blowfish song, even the Dolphins make me cry. He's a diehard Dolphin fan, and in that song he's got, which I can't think of the name of, even the Dolphins make me cry, and it's because he hates it when they lose. I don't know if I've ever cried at a Dolphins loss, but I probably have.
McDonald wants to know if you've had eggnog yet.
You know, not yet. I didn't.
And
have
I was wondering if Jim sent you any of that chocolate eggnog that he
and I
used
were
to.
supposed to get together before Christmas dinner. For Christmas dinner, we were supposed to do it the 12th, but he's had some unexpected shit come up, and it's now the 19th. I don't know if we're going to make our Christmas dinner or not. We're talking about it, but if it happens, it better happen soon. We may have to settle for a New Year's dinner, but I have not had my eggnog yet. But I got a feeling my son will make sure I get a bottle where I can just sit here and get soused on eggnog. I've been known to drink 3 bottles in a night and still not be drunk. I have a very, very high tolerance for alcohol. I've never been drunk a day in my life. Ask Otis.
Gene Rougeau wants to know if
I thought I blocked him. How'd he get in here? I thought I blocked his ass. But go ahead.
Wants to know your thoughts on Dan Marino versus Jim Kelly rivalry. And
well, that was a good one. That was a Jim Kelly, a Miami Hurricane quarterback. So I liked Kelly for being a Hurricane, hated him for being a Buffalo Bill. But in all honesty, the Bills owned our fucking ass, man. We had beaten Buffalo 22 times in a row. And when Jim Kelly got there and Thurman Thomas, that badass running back, see, they had a running game and a passing game. We had a passing game. We had next to no running game. Defense wasn't anything to get excited about. During the Bob Greasy era, we had Bob Mathewson in the 53 defense. And we were known for our defense. We were badass back then. Remember Mark Gastineau being with the Jets? Remember the Jets and Dolphins having some great feuds, and Mark Gastineau was a badass defensive guy. And and you go way back, we had Mercury Morris, Jim Kick, and Larry Zonka. 3 badass running backs on one team. So tell me why you think you should continue to be the host of this show.
I am the best in the world at what I do. Not to take Jericho's name.
Well, you just did. You stole his fucking catchphrase.
Yeah,
that's one reason you shouldn't have it, because you ain't got an original fucking bone in your body. You go to OVW, a place that I buried a long time ago when I left. I put some dirt on his fucking place and shovel it under. But no, you're there because they're desperate to have anybody come in and act like a fan, which you're good at. You do it all over the world. Everywhere you go, here's the fanboy. Here he is. Look at his stupid hat. He's looking for he's wearing a onesie, ladies and gentlemen. He's wearing a onesie. He's got mistletoe on his head. What a cute little fan who thinks he's part of the ref world order.
That was our own little spoof we did.
Yeah, that's what you told me. You're making a joke of my business. No,
I didn't say I'm making a joke of the business. I'm in the business.
You can make a joke out of OVW. I left here 7 years ago.
I'm in the business. Why would I be making a joke of a business I am now?
No, you're not in the business. You obviously did not hear my show earlier today, did you? Jason, allow me to educate the fool here why he's in here. Let me explain to you when you're in my business. You might be in a business. You might even say you're in the business. You're not in my business.
Okay.
My business is professional wrestling.
That's what I'm
I
in.
don't know what this shit is you're doing over in Southern Indiana. And I know that you're doing very little in OVW. Even they're not so desperate as to put you on their television show.
Be careful.
Oh, be careful. Well, but wait a minute. I've seen the show.
Okay.
I've seen the show, and I'll be the first to admit that they're probably desperate enough to put you on that show as a referee. But I know deep down inside, you desperately want to be a pro wrestler. Deep down inside, you think you're an MMA fighter. You know why you'll never be an MMA fighter? Do you know why?
Why?
Because
first of all, I don't want to be an MMA
number
fighter.
one, I'll give you the same promo I gave a guy earlier today. You're about 5'5" and you weigh about 120 pounds, which around here is about the size of a good sized turd.
Thank you for
and
being
turds are not very successful in the MMA business. People that talk shit and can't do shit should stay out of the fucking MMA, like a guy tried to do with me earlier today in England, a little piece of shit named Alex, who's 5'5" and says his body needs to be registered as a lethal weapon. And he weighs 120 pounds and he wants to talk shit on me, a person who's been in the business for 30 years. And when you're in the business, Daniel, and I don't ever want to hear you utter a word out of your mouth that says otherwise until this day happens. And when it does, you can tell me what a proud member of my business you are. When you pay your bills as a result of what you produce in my business, when you pay for your car, when you pay for that house you're sitting in, when you pay for your food, when you clothe your daughter, who we talked about earlier, who's got some issues going on, then you might be in my business. When you pay your health insurance, your car insurance, when you treat your daughter to a nice night out at the movies, when you do these little Marcus trips, and that's another reason you're not in my business, because you don't buy tickets. When you're in my business, you're an invited guest in my business. When you buy tickets to go sit front row and all in and get your pictures taken with all the big stars, you're still a mark. You are not in my business. You aspire to be in my business. So when you can produce your first check, your first wad of cash that some promoter paid you to be in my business, to be a referee, a ring announcer, a wrestler. Come on, we're not going to worry about that one. So when you make your living doing what I do, that I've done for 30 years, then you get to claim you're in your business. And you know what? You know who told me that originally? A promoter named Jerry Jarrett. You might be smart to the business. You might be in a business, but you're not in my business, because you are going to lose money trying to be on my show tonight. You spent more money than gas than anyone around here is going to fucking pay you. You're not in my business. Now, did any of what I just said to you fucking sink in?
Well, nice try,
but
I have
still want to claim you're in my business.
Yes, because I have been paid in this business. I am paying bills with this business.
No. Shut up.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck if someone handed you a charitable $5 or $10 or even as much as $75, which I know for a fact didn't happen. Nobody's paying you above $20 to do shit in this business. I didn't say that you couldn't make a couple of bucks. What I'm saying is that any show you're trying to be a part of, you're probably going to spend more money trying to be a part of it than anything they're going to pay you in return. And I know people with 15 times less experience, more experience than you've got, that still can't get anybody to hand them enough money to make it worth their time and effort to pay the toll to cross the bridge. And I will call you out and anyone else out any day of the week on that. There's nobody in the state of Kentucky is going over there and doing those bullshit shows that's getting enough money to even justify crossing the fucking bridge, putting gas in their car, and feeding themselves while they're over there. Not a fucking one of them. So no, just because someone gave you a token 5, 10, or $20 don't give you the right for you to fucking tell me that you're in my goddamn business.